am so grateful to be able to come up here and share this story with you. For most of my life, I've considered myself to be pretty health conscious. Being really disciplined with my diet and exercise and lifestyle choices gave me a sense of control and an illusion of power over my health and life and death. Despite that, on December 2022, I found a lump in my right breast. I was diagnosed with stage 3C breast cancer that had spread to many of my lymph nodes. And I was pretty terrified, but I'm a fighter, and I was like, I'm gonna fight this with all that I have and all that the doctors have. So I did chemotherapy, I had surgery, I did radiation, I did immune therapy, I had a strict diet, I was fasting, I did everything. And then I heard the words, cancer-free, and I thought, I beat it. But less than a year later, the cancer was back. And they told me, it's all right, we caught it early, it's stage 0, you'll just need surgery. But I fell into a deep depression. I felt powerless and hopeless and helpless. I was having trouble connecting with God and with my family. I couldn't even pray. It was terrifying to me that my best efforts at controlling my health had failed. And then one day, suddenly, I felt just immense joy and peace wash over me. I was overwhelmed with love and gratitude for my family, my children, and the time that I get to spend with them. I'm thinking, what have I been doing all these days crying when I have so many blessings in my life? And I just felt God telling me everything's gonna be okay. So I went to my husband, Matthew, and I said, have you been praying for me? Because something has happened and it's unexplainable. I mean, it's the peace that surpasses understanding. And I know that it came from God. And it turned out he had been praying for me. And in fact, he had been reaching out for prayer in such a huge way that there were thousands of people who were praying for me. So before I could get that surgery they were talking about to get rid of the cancer, we were doing more testing, and I got a call late one night from my doctor with the words that nobody ever wants to hear. It's stage 4, and it's incurable. You can't run or jump or lift your children anymore because you might break your spine. There's tumors all throughout your spine and your ribs and your pelvis and your legs. And we're hoping we can get you another 2 to 4 years. I had been having pain that I'd been in denial about in my back and my hips and my ribs. And I was saying, I worked out too hard, or I'm really in bad shape. But I had no idea it was cancer. So despite the fact that my diagnosis and prognosis just got way worse, that peace that God had given me, it continued. And I continued to believe that everything was going to be okay. And my husband, Matthew, was still reaching out for prayer, and Eric came to our house. He anointed me with oil, and he prayed for me there. We got prayer from CR Ministries, from families and friends. Children were laying their hands on me and praying. People were commanding the cancer to leave my body and for my tissues to be restored. We began researching healing scripture and scripture about prayer and just trying to learn as much as we could about healing. On June 8th, Eric shared about my diagnosis in the church, and everyone here prayed for me. And it was such a powerful time for me, and I could feel something shift when that prayer happened, and believed that healing was coming. Despite that, my pain continued to increase and became pretty excruciating over the next few weeks. And we were asking ourselves why. Like, did we not have enough faith? Were we not praying right? Was there a certain template we were supposed to use that would make it work? And I confessed to God my unbelief and my questions and prayed for help with my unbelief. I began changing the language that I was using about the cancer and calling it the cancer instead of my cancer, not taking it on as my identity. I began visualizing, taking deep breaths in, breathing in God's healing breath of life, and breathing out all fear and illness and death and cancer. I was commanding cancer to leave my body and rebuking attacks of fear. I was reading healing scripture every day and listening to worship music that brought me hope. And we started to watch testimonies of other people's healings. But like Peter walking on the water towards Jesus, every time I took my eyes off of him, I began to sink. So I had to surrender every day and remind myself of God's goodness. In late June, I decided to get radiation on 2 of the tumors in my spine that were really close to my spinal cord. And I started immune therapy. And the doctor said, your pain is going to increase a lot over the next week or so, and then it'll slowly get better over the next few months. But just a couple of days after I started radiation, the pain started to decrease. My doctors were really amazed. We kept on getting prayer, and at a few of these prayer sessions, it was prophesied over me that my healing would come through song. And then some people in prayer sessions, also in multiple prayer sessions, got words of knowledge that there was something going on with a certain traumatic time in my childhood. And then God revealed to me this song that I used to sing when I was a child during that time that was a really sad song about children being abused. And I went home and I rewrote that song, and I changed it and I sang it out from singing curses over myself to singing hope and life. And also in one of these prayer sessions, a word of knowledge came to a friend of mine that I needed to choose healing. And that struck me because I realized in that moment when he said it that I had been just floating along as if in a boat, waiting for God to come rescue me and heal me or take me home. And in Deuteronomy 11:26, it says, I lay before you a blessing and a curse. And that day, I rebuked the curses and I chose the blessing. I chose healing. I chose life. I began to speak over myself Psalm 117:18. I shall not die, but I will live and proclaim what the Lord has done. We all left with a knowing that I was healed that night. My pain disappeared. My function and energy were restored to a level that they haven't been in years.
Oh, yeah.
We were in excited anticipation for the scans that were coming up. And when I went to the doctor, when I was supposed to start chemotherapy, I made the difficult decision to decline. So a few weeks later, when I was driving down to San Francisco to UCSF to get my PET scan, I was singing and laughing and praising the Lord in the car, the 3 to 4 hours, I can't remember how long it was driving down there. And in the machine, I was praising God. I was thanking him for my healing. And I said, Lord, please glorify yourself through this scan. It was supposed to take about 5 days or so to get the report. It was over Labor Day weekend. But the next morning, they messaged me and told me to look at my report, and the scans were clear. video of the scans that they'll put up here in just a second. So the brain and the kidneys and the bladder are all supposed to be white. Those are healthy tissue, but the rest of the spots are the tumors that were throughout my body, and this is now. So since we got that news, we've been rejoicing. We've been telling everybody who will listen about what God has done. And one of the biggest things for me in all of this, even before we knew I was healed, is the ways that our journey has been touching the people around us. And people have been telling us that they're closer to God now, that they're praying more, that their faith has grown. And children who were praying for me in the car on the way to school and with their families at night have seen their prayers answered. This for me is a greater gift than the healing itself, being used by God in such a way to grow the faith of the people around me. I wake up with gratitude every day for the life that I have today, for the healing, for the opportunity to spend more time with my children, and also for knowing the healer, for the ways that I've drawn closer to him. God didn't just restore my body, he restored my faith, my joy, and my purpose. And I wish I could share all of the many ways that he showed up and worked throughout this journey, but that would take longer than Eric's sermon today. I know my story isn't mine alone. It belongs to my husband, who fought this battle alongside me, to my mother, who held my hand through it all, to every person who prayed and every child who believed and every heart who's still waiting for their miracle. And my prayer is that my life, this gift I've been given, will be a testimony of God's faithful love. Thank you.